See, this is section 7 on the American plastics industry. And the idea I'm trying to get at is that plastics, which is what America is, this idea of this fake, inauthentic human being who strikes poses, says things not only that he doesn't believe in, but he has no connection with emotionally. Words come out of his mouth, and they're all conforming. They're getting to be accepted by other people. They want to be accepted, approved of by members of the herd. They want to be safe and secure and being liked and even loved by other members of the herd. And it is self-deception, which is a form of plastic. It's a form of American plastics. That is the fundamental ingredient in herdism. Okay? You can't follow along and be a member of the herd unless you deceive yourself about who you are and what you're doing. Unless you temporarily, which for most people is for most of their lives, allow the herd to to solve your identity diffusion problem for you and give you an identity. You can't learn anything you don't already know. Plato. Sometimes you have to lose yourself to find anything at all. James Dickey from Deliverance. The difference between a scholar and an intellectual. A scholar is a person who seeks to know everything about something. An intellectual is a person who seeks to know something about everything. A member of the herd is a person who seeks to know nothing about anything and wants to spend most of his time talking about what he knows nothing about. American college professors can no longer be trusted to be true scholars or honest intellectuals in relation to their area of specialization, but even less so to the political and moral issues of the day. This is why academia appears to be going completely nuts. There's a possible exception for the hard sciences and engineering, right? Because they're actually really doing something that's really directly important to society. I'm not one of these. I have higher educational training in the sciences and engineering, in the humanities, and in the social science, and I'm not one of those mathematics, science background people who says that the humanities are worthless. Of course, they're more important in terms of education, okay? But those people aren't doing those things anymore, for Christ's sake. They don't even want to read fucking, these feminist loons that I went to, that I spent 5 years in a master's program in English back in the 80s and 90s that I went to, they don't want any reference made whatsoever to anything that dead white men have ever done. They don't want the literary canon or the musical canon to stay the canon. They want to get rid of all of these great writers. They don't feel they have anything to learn from Plato or Homer or Dante or T.S. Eliot or any of these people. This is why academia appears to be going completely nuts. I was brought up to believe that college professors were the paradigms for the society in terms of lifelong dedication to complete and total honesty, for dedication to the truth, regardless of its possible moral or religious implications, and to the search for knowledge leading to wisdom, like teachers in Germany. I had planned to be a professor all my life until I got into grad school and found out the Alice in Wonderland that our universities had degenerated into, especially at the more specialized levels. Professors today and graduate students and administrators are so emotionally insecure and Talosian that all they care about is being accepted and admired by the herd, and to hell with knowledge, truth, or honesty, or culture. But also because they're making lots of money and they've got comfy, cushy lives. I mean, these administrators are they need to be gotten rid of, okay? They make $900,000 a year, or $1 million, or $1.2 million, or $1 million, or $2 million at these big, high endowment universities like Harvard and Yale, and they're worthless. They're spineless little insects that go along with whatever the mood is, even if the mood is like what happened in Berkeley last year in February. Even if the mood is burn down half the fucking campus. Professors today and graduate students and administrators are so emotionally and financially insecure and Talosian that all they care about is being accepted and admired by the herd, and to hell with knowledge, truth, or honesty, let alone culture. They all dream of being loved and admired like Martin Luther King, Gandhi, or other civil rights heroes like Rosa Parks. The will to truth of today's academics, or lack thereof. Academics can no longer be trusted prima facie to quest for truth or to communicate truth. Those who do so are a minority now, one that is shrinking and currently under intense attack. They are more concerned with protecting and shielding soft feelings of strangers as well as familiars. They can actually be trusted to lie and to fabricate or fudge data and results and conclusions wherever they can that keep in line with political prejudices. Academics in the hard sciences have a greater opportunity to relay truth and knowledge than those in the social sciences, and especially those in the humanities, because there is less false controversy. Math is the great equalizer. Either you can do math or you can't. This is why we have Negroes and women winning Nobel Prizes and other such prizes in literature and peace. The John F. Kennedy Award for Courage was just given to some slimeball ex-governor in Louisiana because he took down historical Confederate monuments, and they just gave that disgusting-looking fucking organism creature, Kathy, whatever she was, who used to do who was fired from her job when she held up the head of a bloody head of President Trump. Just was given some award for helping the LGBT, whatever the fuck that is, community by the city of West Hollywood. The MacArthur grants, a lot of these granting foundations, the ones that are so big and so powerful, that have been around for so long, with gargantuan endowments, they want to keep people, they want to keep their legitimacy. They want to maintain this illusion in most people's minds that they have some value, that they still have some value, or that they even had some value in the first place. They want to keep their prestige, because the prestige keeps the endowment growing, and it keeps them in their comfortable leather desk chairs. They want to keep all of this going. So they're going to never go against the grain. Look at what happened to Lawrence Summers. He was the president of Harvard 5 or 6 or something years ago, and a lot of feminist groups were bothering him about admitting more women into the hard sciences. And he said, I admit as many who are qualified, okay? Few are qualified. Women can't do math, women can't do science. He said something that every study, we don't have to refer to Steven Pinker, all the research that's being done that isn't fudged or lied about, and there isn't, actually it's been coming out pretty honestly by the bona fide, like researching organizations and institutions, that women can't do math. They have lower IQs than men. They are inferior by like a standard deviation or more to men in math and in most of the sciences. Those are the facts, okay? Until you do your own research that honestly shows that this is wrong, this is what we have as the established knowledge about. But he was fired anyway. They motherfuckers, they fired him. All for just even if it wasn't a fact, even if it was wrong, even if the establishment said the opposite, and he stated his opinion. Anyway, this is why we have Negroes and women winning Nobel Prizes and other such prizes in literature and peace and all these other lesser prizes, while we have no women or Negroes winning in physics, chemistry, economics, or medicine, or other big awards such as the Fields Medal. In literature and peace, opinions are the main discriminator. See, discrimination is important in some areas of our society even today. So political correctness can rule, which it does. That enables people to lie and justify their selections based on honest arguments, but secretly hide the fact that their decisions rely on political feelings. You can't fake results in physics or mathematics, especially since the average person doesn't even understand what the physicist or mathematician has accomplished that won them the prize in the first place. You can argue endlessly about which play, novel, or poem is the best, however. Even formerly reliable resources like National Geographic are fully corrupt to the point where they're actually screening videos claiming homosexuality in the animal world. Okay? This is all propaganda to counter the natural reaction by sexually healthy people in this country, relatively sexually healthy. I don't think our whole, everything about American sexuality is pathological from 5,000 different angles. Okay? But homosexuality is not even the worst. I mean, the transgender thing is even worse. It's even more psychotic. Not just that people are doing it, not just that doctors are performing these surgeries, not just that the general public and the government are allowing this and even promoting it, but that people are actually pretending to believe that this person has actually changed this person's sex. That Bruce Jenner was a man and now he's a woman. He's not a woman. Bruce Jenner is not a fucking woman, okay? Bruce Jenner is a man who had his dick cut off and is wearing a wig and dressing up with cosmetics. I mean, honest people from another planet would look at this and go, this planet needs to be destroyed because these people are psychotic. So this is part of the, the natural reaction to homosexuality by normal people who are listening to abnormal people trying to explain it as normal and healthy. They say it's not natural, it doesn't occur to the animal world. So they've actually gone to the point where they're getting down to the brass tacks of these arguments, right? It's like the fact that buttresses this other fact, that buttresses this third fact, that buttresses this 20th fact, that buttresses this opinion that homosexuality is normal and healthy versus homosexuality is not normal and not healthy, right? So they go down to these brass tacks and try to corrupt that knowledge, okay? They try to corrupt it. They film these fucking monkeys, two males scratching each other or rubbing their gonads, rubbing their crotch one against the other, scratching or whatever the fuck they're doing. And that's homosexuality in the animal world. So let me continue reading. I'm sorry. I get carried away with this shit because it's driving me nuts. I'm going to go psychotic watching this country go fucking mad. They show monkeys in the wild scratching each other and rubbing their bodies together as if simulating the sex act and claim that this is evidence that homosexuality is natural and normal. Even wild animals practice homosexuality. So when a dog rubs his crotch against my lower leg, he's trying to have sex with me? What would you call this variety of sexual contact? Interspecies sexual relations? If so, what would the scientific term be when the dog rubs his crotch up against a table leg? Inanimate object sexual relations? I mean, this stuff gets wide circulation in the society and gets bounced around like a ping pong ball or a tennis ball in the media. Because they're trying to repress this reality that I just stated. You can't express yourself honestly in this country anymore without serious repercussions and dangers, not even among friends or at private parties. You can't express yourself honestly. It's like if I go to a lot of Jewish-oriented events, parties, dinners, whatever, just because they're mostly free and I have no money right now. Because I'm a struggling artist, struggling intellectual, struggling philosopher, struggling prophet, right? So if I start talking about how the bullshit of the Holocaust narrative, there are people there who are my friends, who have loaned me money, who I've loaned money, who come over my house, who would stop talking to me because other people, their friends would stop talking to them. This is because opinions have become psychology. They become about narcissistic and psychotic defense mechanisms rather than just an opinion. Oh, well, if 50 years ago, people would have, if somebody's parents died in a German camp or whatever, They might not want to hear it. They might walk away. But other people say, well, I don't, that's your opinion. They can't do it anymore because it's too threatening. We have degenerated to the point where you will lose your job merely for speaking your mind. This is because everybody in this country is trying to get everybody. Every American wants to get other Americans. This phenomenon is due to the fact that America is a nation full of hate, which I talk about in a later section. The most hateful and hating society in history. How to fix the American educational system. P4C, philosophy for children, philosophy in the classroom, philosophy in the public and private schools from kindergarten to 12th grade. Ignorant people out there, believe it or not, this is something that is being done, and it's very successful, and it's a good thing. Kindergarten children want to philosophize. Get that in your brain, because you'll be hearing about it more and more from me and others. Pioneers such as Matthew Lipman have been working on philosophy curricula for K through 12 for years. Rewrite the entire public school curriculum. Socratic-style seminars, sessions called self-discovery. One of the biggest problems in our society is that people are not being educated so that they can think for themselves. They are taught what to think, not how to think. And they are taught not to think, especially if it goes against what other people think. A concentrated curriculum which teaches students how to think and how to think for themselves will have transfer of training effects. Transfer of training, this is a term in the social sciences, effects that will help them in mastering math, reading, writing, civics, and all else. Self-deception is a form of psychosis. It is a psychotic state. Self-deception is a temporary psychotic state or a fugue state. Self-deception can become a psychotic state depending on the strength of the ego defenses being deployed and the level of fear of the truths that the ego defenses are defending against. Existential self-psychoanalysis, existential self-analysis, or existential psycho-self-analysis. Existential self-analysis. This is what people do who are honestly honest. Existential psychoanalysis and existential self-psychoanalysis. In fact, if you do not engage regularly in existential psycho-self-analysis, you cannot be honest and you cannot be anything other than a member of the herd. Primary process explorations. People who practice existential psycho-self-analysis, which from what I can see of this civilization is me at this point. People who practice existential psycho-self-analysis for years eventually become good at primary process explorations. They can actually get down to the lowest level basement of our unconscious and bring out data from there. I call this primary process scuba, or primary process scuba diving. Multiculturalism and post-structuralism. The reason the post-structuralists, multiculturalists, and deconstructionists say that there is no truth is because inside of them there is no truth. They themselves are lies, and their lives are lies. So they want to make life itself a lie. The surreality, unreality of post-mortem America. The liars smile, grin, smirk. Watching the news in the last couple of years since the Trump phenomena began, the first picture in my mind that comes to mind when I talk about the liars smile or grin is Congressman Adam Schiff. People differ in their capacity for freedom. People in this country have minimal capacity for freedom. They rank about second or third on the freedom continuum, just above North Koreans and citizens as depicted in books such as 1984 or Brave New World. The American people know this fact, so everywhere they display plastic liberty in the form of tattoos and piercings. If politicians were honest, Americans would never vote for them. It's not about the politicians, which doesn't excuse them anything. It's about ignorance, stupidity, and most of all, dishonesty of the American people.